blast with it. But before we go on, and because Deadpool is a popular Marvel superhero who is likely to be popular with a lot of kids, a strong word of warning: this movie is made for adults and earns and relishes its R rating. Parents are advised not to bring their kids to this outing, no matter how much they may break your fourth wall to get you to take them to see it. The movie is replete with foul language, constant crass jokes often highly sexualized, alternative sex scenes and full frontal nudity, hyper-violence and blood and gore. Did I mention that it relishes in these things? If you're a parent or otherwise conservative, consider yourself warned. If a movie like Kick-Ass wasn't your style, then don't bother with Deadpool. For those still curious but unfamiliar with what all of the hubbub about Deadpool is, and are interested in an admittedly crass comic book superhero movie full of snark and silliness that is well outside of the Marvel Cinematic and Fox X-Men movie universe norms, then consider this. Deadpool is a bad guy of sorts who can't seem to help himself helping others by knocking around other bad guys. He's also a bit loony in the head, constantly riffing on what's going on around him or sharing the inane thoughts that pop into his head. He's fairly unorganized, and he's not that serious. As in his comic books where he stops and talks to the reader, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall between he and the viewer and frequently talks to us. He also makes tons of wisecracks and frequently references reality, as he does when he's being dragged away by the X-Man Colossus back to the X-Mansion and Deadpool asks the Iron Giant which Professor X is going to be there. Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy? The humor is both clever and obvious throughout, and I found that some of the funniest moments, and there were many more than many, were in the opening title credits that essentially skewered title credits. I laughed fairly hard and frequently in the first 5 minutes alone, and there are lots of laughs and gags throughout. Ryan Reynolds plays Wade Wilson/Deadpool. He makes you forget the horrendous rendition of Deadpool he was turned into in the X-Men Origins Wolverine. He's twisted, lovable, a rascal, and manic as all get out. Reynolds is a movie star who has never quite earned that title, until now. Along for the ride is the stunning Morena Baccarin as Wade's love interest called Vanessa. They meet cute in a turns cute on its head way and have some of that alternative sex spoken of in the warning. Colossus, an iconic X-Man, is given his due here. His fans will absolutely love him, and he is treated with respect as to his origin, and he's got a warm heart underneath all of that organic steel skin. There's an absolutely hilarious scene where Deadpool, mad at Colossus's interference in bringing a bad guy to justice, starts belting and kicking him to startling effect that is seriously and painfully funny. We also get an X-Man I'm not familiar with, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who wears her cool disaffection like a queen's cloak. T.J. Miller plays Wade's bud, but it's a bit part, and fans of Miller might be disappointed at how little screen time he gets. As for the story itself, it follows a traditional 3-act trajectory. The first act is by far the best. It is funny, plays with the audience and our expectations, and is finely crafted. It takes place in a freeway confrontation. The second act tones down the humor and provides the movie with its heart. It explores Wade and Vanessa's relationship. This is a love movie after all, something Deadpool reveals to us, and the damage done to it by Wade's cancer condition and the way he goes about dealing with it. The final act is short by comparison and returns us to Deadpool and Colossus and Negasonic facing off against the bad guys in almost typical fashion, accepting all of the funny bits. The movie is highly entertaining and there's sure to be a sequel. Really enjoyed this outing and am looking forward to the next. 4.5 stars. A classic in its own way.